Hello folks, in this one we're going to cover the sometimes murky world of used car warranties. We've all heard the horror stories, perhaps you've experienced some of them for yourself, so let's get down to the meat and bones of it. What should you be looking for? What you should definitely be avoiding, and things that are going to help you along your journey with car warranty. We're also going to look at some claim stats. We're also going to look at the kind of things you can claim for, you can't claim for. And then finally, we'll look at where to go to actually get yourself a decent warranty, hopefully at a fraction of the cost of your car dealership. And hopefully you'll find this massively useful. Now, car warranty is not a maintenance package. It's not a service plan. So it's not going to cover things like tyres. It's generally not going to cover pads and discs, belts, fluids. It's not going to cover your oil and filters and that kind of stuff. They're all serviceable items. What it's there to do is to help you out when things unexpectedly go wrong, like the engine starts spitting pistons and that engine has been serviced in line with the manufacturer's specifications previously. It's there to cover things like an ECU suddenly failing. All these kind of things that are unexpected problems that could leave you with a big bill. But remember, in pretty much any warranty on the market, it's a stipulation that the car has to be serviced in line with the manufacturer specifications, and you will certainly need to keep evidence of that servicing. Some warranties have an excess. That means you have to pay an amount of money for every time you claim. So to keep things simple, let's say your warranty's got £100 excess and the claim you're making is for £500, you'll get £400. Your warranty policy should give you a really clear list of components and items within your car that you're covered for, and then give you exclusions on the other side of the page generally, and it should be really easy and clear to read. If it's not, if you find it that's filled with jargon and it's difficult in any way, I would say that's one to walk away from. If a warranty company has got any kind of standards about them, they'll make a document that's as clear and fair for the consumer as possible. And indeed, if you're looking at an insured product, they have to do that. More on insured versus non-insured coming up soon. Now, generally, you can choose your own garage when it comes to getting your car repaired when you make a warranty claim. There's usually a stipulation that has to be a VAT registered business, which is fair enough. It just shows that it's a real garage and it's not your mate giving you a dodgy receipt. But lots of warranty companies have pre-approved garages. Now, the general benefit of using a pre-approved garage is that the warranty company often has direct payment terms, so they will just pay the garage. If you decide to use your own VAT registered garage, quite often you have to pay and then claim the money back from the warranty company. So that's something to bear in mind. The benefit to the warranty company of having a pre-approved network is that they can actually run a load of checks on that business to make sure they're kosher. And obviously with any kind of claim on any kind of insurance, if you want to call it that, people do sometimes take the mickey a little bit. If you're a pre-approved garage, you know what's acceptable and what's not. The warranty company obviously can remove that approval from you and probably take away quite a lot of work from you if you are swinging the lead a bit. So using an approved repairer probably makes your life a little bit easier, and it might actually give you a better level of service. So we're going to look at 4 different types of warranty: manufacturer warranty, a manufacturer approved used warranty, then we're looking at insured and non-insured from third-party providers. And that's really interesting, all right? So really watch this bit carefully. So the first one is manufacturer warranty, and that's generally full parts and labour warranty that you get from your main dealer when you buy a new car, or if you lease a car, or you bought a car through a broker, whatever, you get manufacturer warranty. That means you can go to any of your main dealers, wherever you got the car from, and if there's a defect with that car, the manufacturer will put it right, parts and labour, and basically that's it. As long as you keep the car serviced as it should, parts and labour warranty, job done. So whether you're buying a car from Toyota, Jaguar, Ford, Vauxhall, Honda, you've got your full manufacturer's warranty. Some of them will give you 3 years, some give you up to 7. Toyota are now doing something where you can get 10. If you buy a used car from any of those same manufacturers or from one of their franchise dealerships, even if it's an approved used car from one of those franchise dealerships, chances are, although you might get a branded warranty, so it might have the manufacturer's name on the warranty, it's probably a warranty scheme that's being administered by a third party at that stage. And the difference there is, instead of the manufacturer being able to approve or decline a claim, it's actually just a third-party company. And we'll look at the different types of third-party warranties now. I think that's an important point to understand though, because a manufacturer will often charge you much more for that approved use warranty. Now, there are two types of third-party warranty. So these are the ones you can buy online from various warranty companies, or maybe offered to you by an independent dealership, for example. Well, they're insured and non-insured, and it won't always be blatantly obvious. Particularly the non-insured ones won't make a massive point of advertising the fact that they're non-insured. And we're going to look at the differences between the two now. So non-insured warranty must comply with trade-in standards, but there are no sort of mandatory regulations in place around it. There is a motor ombudsman service that not everyone signs up for, and it's self-regulated. Okay, so it's regulated by the motor industry for the motor industry in effect. And that's about the limit of where your protections lie. If that company you bought the warranty from goes bust, well, you've got no cover, you've got no recourse, there's nothing to come back. And they also tend to work on a pool of funds basis. That means there's a finite pot of money to cover all their claims. So you may have never made a claim on your policy and you may be covered up to this amount, but if that pool of money runs dry, you might not get paid out, or you might only get a percentage of what's paid out. That's an extreme circumstance, but it's not impossible. So you really need to keep that in mind. Non-insured warranties are also known as discretionary warranties. And that really means that whether your claim is valid or not is at the discretion of the person you're claiming from. So if they read something differently to you, they say, well, it says that, but we read it as meaning this, and you think it's that. Well, sorry about that. It's tough luck, really. I mean, you could go to the Motor Ombudsman Service if they're signed up to it. But as I said, that's a self-regulated body. With an insured product, there's an insurance company sitting behind it. And immediately that gives you lots of layers of protection. Firstly, the policy wording has to be very clear. It has to use a certain kind of language. It has to say you're covered for this, you're not covered for this, and it needs to be as simple as that. Now, to become an insurer takes a massive amount of work. The compliance involved in it is huge. They have to have huge amounts of money sitting behind them. And believe me, not just anyone can open up an insurance company. The FCA governs all of it. Now, that immediately gives you another layer of protection, because if you don't like something that happens, say you try and make a claim under your warranty and the warranty company says, no, we're not going to pay that, you've immediately got some redress. You can make a formal complaint to the provider. That's always the best first step. Hopefully they'll remedy it for you there. If they still continue to say, no, your claim's not valid, you're not entitled to make a claim, and you're convinced that you are, you can then go to the Financial Ombudsman Service, also known as the FOS. The FOS has the power to take drastic and fairly immediate action if need be. And if they feel that the company's misled you in any way, whether that's by the language they've used, if they've unfairly declined your claim or anything like that, the FOS can approve it, and they can take action against the insurer that sits behind it. And there's another level of protection. It's called the FSCS, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme. That means if an insurance company goes bust, you've got the FSCS, which is an independent body which you can claim compensation from. So with a non-insured product, it may appear to be cheaper, but essentially it's up to them if they decide to pay you out or not. You don't have a huge amount of redress if they say no and you're saying yes, and you feel like you've been unfairly treated. You can complain to Trading Standards. You can go to the Motor Ombudsman Service if they're a member of it, if they've decided to join that. But otherwise you don't have a massive amount of comeback. If it goes bust, that's the end of that. With an insured product, there's an insurance company there. An insurance company has to give you something that's fair, clear, not misleading. So you should find it easy enough to understand what you're covered for and what you're not covered for. If there is any problem, you've got redress straight away. It's all there in black and white for everyone to see. And that means there's not a lot left to interpretation, which can only be a good thing for you. And then if the company you're buying from goes bust, you've then got a chance to get yourself some compensation as well, versus goodbye on the other hand. I'm sure a lot of you watching this didn't even know there was such a thing. You will find non-insured products, by the way, from companies you would not expect to be associated with them. Some large motoring organisations, for example, might offer you a non-insured product. Seriously consider your options, folks, because you do have options. Now, lots of warranty companies have reached out to me in the past about possibly sponsoring a bit of content on my channel or have me doing a video about their product. And as tempting financially as some of those offers have been, I've never really felt confident in the product. But for the first time, I am confident in a product. And it's one being sold by ALA, who are the sponsors of today's video. So we're going to look at their different warranty options. And while I'm doing this is not an advert for ALA. While I'm doing this, I'm going to show you sort of how the different covers vary and the kind of things to look out for and make sure you understand before you buy a warranty. Now, as ALA has been good enough to sponsor this video, I'm going to use their website and their product to point out a few things that you may want to see in your warranty product, and also sort of just give you a general idea of some of the features and benefits to look out for. We're going to look at the different levels of cover, and I'm also going to tell you right now that if you want to buy a warranty from ALA, you use the code JIM10 and you'll get 10% off the price. In fact, you'll get 10% off pretty much everything on their website if you use that code JIM10. We're going to look at my Tesla. Now, my Tesla is still under manufacturer's warranty, so in reality you wouldn't be buying a used car warranty for it. However, you know, I need to use something as an example in this one, and I know the reg number of that one, I think. So I've just put the reg number in. It's asking me to confirm that all the information is correct and the car won't be over 150,000 miles at the start of the policy. That's all correct. Next it asks, has your car been serviced to the manufacturer's guidelines? As a tip, it says check your service book and contact the vehicle main dealer for help. Please keep all service receipts as they'll be needed when making a claim. Failure to provide the documentation may result in your claim being rejected. Massively important point. It's no good getting the car serviced and not keeping any kind of evidence of it. You must have the evidence. You must have a stamped service book. You must have receipts for any work you've had done yourself in recent times. It all helps to support your claim when the time comes. You then asked to confirm if the vehicle has any known pre-existing faults. And there's just a reminder that you must give accurate information or your policy might be invalid and bad things might happen. So we've got the three levels of cover here. We've got silver, gold and platinum. You can choose 1 year, 2 year or 3 years. Now this is another interesting point. With ALA, you get to choose the labour rate. Now that's the hourly rate including VAT that your policy will cover you up to for labour. Some policies will just have a fixed labour rate and that's the end of that. Others will give you the option to choose. Obviously, if you choose a higher labour rate, you're going to get a higher price. So if we go up to £100 an hour labour, the price for that is 288 quid. Now I'm going to put in the code JIM10. That makes it 259. If you went for £60 labour, it's 221. And this is the other thing, is the claim limit. Again, you get to choose with this ALA policy. On this platinum policy, the claim limit's £5,000. At £5,000, that's now costing you £181 a year. But they'll also look at the current value of your car according to, I don't know, cap HPI or something like that. That's got the current value of my car at 36,170. That means that's the maximum amount I can claim under that policy, not per item, but for the life of that policy, it's £36,170. That makes it 221 quid. If I limited that to just £5,000, that makes it 181. So bear that in mind. If you've got yourself a Range Rover, I would go for that one rather than that one. Simply because if the engine blows up in it, it's going to cost a lot of money. And we'll look at some stats on that in a sec. And then we've got some other good features of this. There's no excess on an ALA warranty policy. Lots of warranty policies carry an excess. The first car I ever bought from a car dealership, it was back when God was a boy, and it was a really bad car, to be fair. It was a Metro. It was about 900 quid. And they gave me a warranty with it. All right, and they made a big deal out of it. We're giving you 6 months warranty. Now, the head gasket went on that Metro, and I tried to claim on the warranty. I then found out that the total cover on that warranty that they'd given me was for 500 quid.
and it had a £200 excess. So the most I would have been able to claim, even if the engine had blown up, was 300 quid. Not great. You know, this one's got no excess. So what you see is what you get in that respect. It is an insured policy rather than a discretionary policy or a non-insured policy. That means you've got the FCA there. That means that if you've got an issue, you could complain to an ALA. If they don't help you out, which they'll try their best to do, they'll put you onto the FOS. You can then make a complaint to the FOS. If the FOS upholds your complaint, you'll get paid. And if ALA's insurer went bankrupt, you've got the FSCS there for protection as well. So you could possibly get some compensation for them. So you've got a lot more protection as a consumer. And also, once again, this is day one cover with no need for an inspection before you go on cover. Again, gives you a little bit of peace of mind that you're covered as soon as possible. Now, just going back to the covers for a second, first thing to know is that if you want the best cover, you need a newer car, basically. So platinum cover is only available on cars up to 8 years old and with up to 80,000 miles on the clock. There's no maximum purchase price for the vehicle for any of these. Wear and tear is included on platinum, but not on the others. More on that in a sec. Gold is for cars up to 12 years or 100,000 miles. Silver for cars up to 16 years old and up to 150,000 miles. Wear and tear is not covered under silver, not covered under gold, but it is covered under platinum. And wear and tear means items which have deteriorated over time and reached the end of their working lives because of age. Then for each of these things, it will list the covered items. So let's just look at, the cooling system. Under silver, you're covered for thermostat, water pump, thermostat housing, fan coupling and engine temperature sensor. Under gold, you're also covered for your radiator, water pump, heater matrix, engine oil cooler and radiator. And then if you go up to platinum, you've also got EGR cooler and intercooler cover. Okay, so it's all there and it's all really, really clear. It tells you the items that you are covered for. And just remember, folks, if you want the best cover, if you need the best cover, don't buy the cheapest one. Don't buy ALA silver if you really want ALA platinum, because it's absolutely amazing how many people buy the cheapest insurance policy and expect the top level of cover. There are 3 cover level options for a reason. There's one to suit every budget, okay? So just keep that in mind. Now over here, you've got policy documents, and this is massively important. The first one I'm going to show you is called the IPID, and you get this with any kind of insurance product, really. And what it tries to do is distill a whole policy wording into 2 sheets of paper with some really clear things. What is insured, what's not insured, and are there any restrictions on cover? So very, very simple, easy to understand in my opinion. If you then read through that and that all seems fine, or you've got further questions, you can go on to the full policy wording, and that gives you everything in minute detail. But again, policy wordings now use quite friendly language, so you don't have to be an expert in insurance to understand your policy wording. And I suggest you give the most pertinent points a read. So this one's the platinum policy, and for example, in the platinum policy, you're covered up to £1,000 for your factory fit head unit, your infotainment system. If you've put an Alpine stereo in there or something, you won't be covered for that because it's not factory fit, but they will pay you up to £1,000 to replace the infotainment system that came in your car if that malfunctions. And this document here should always be read alongside your schedule of insurance, and that will say things like the dates of your cover, the premium you've paid, the car registration, and the details of anything that's excluded or specifically different from your policy to what's mentioned in this policy wording. It's all really quite simple stuff, but a lot of people just don't take 10-15 minutes to read the most pertinent points, and I really strongly recommend everyone does that. You do have a cooling off period with any kind of insurance that you're buying online. It says here you may cancel your insurance cover within 30 days of receiving this policy by contacting us, and you'll receive a full refund of the premium paid. So you've got a month to sit and go through that. Take the time to do it. If you don't like it, get your money back. Obviously though, you don't get a refund if you've already used the policy.
Now my chums at ALA have shared some quite interesting claim stats with me, and these are stats based on how many people actually claim against warranty. The top 3 models people claim for, BMW 5 Series is number 1, number 2 is the Range Rover Sport, and number 3 is the BMW 2 Series. The amount of claims based on make, this is from a total of 5,300 claims. Range Rover, 19% of the claims. BMW, 13% of the claims. Land Rover, 10%. So if you combine Range Rover and Land Rover, that's almost 30% of the total claims. Mercedes, 10%. Audi, 8%. Jaguar, 6%. VW, 5%. Volvo, 4%. Ford 3% and Citroen 2%, Citroen being number 10 on the list. Now that's really interesting because this is based on the total number of claims. If we were talking about the typical cost per claim, you'd think, all right, Range Rover, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, they're going to be more expensive because they're more expensive cars, going to have more expensive parts. But it's not, it's based on the number of claims, and those are the top 10. I guess the only brands in there that are not premium would be Ford and Citroen typically. The rest I think you'd probably consider sort of more premium brands. So I thought that was a bit of an eye-opener. The top claim component groups, this is the thing people claim for the most. Number 1 is the engine, number 2 vehicle diagnostics, and number 3 is the electrical system. The electrical system nowadays is a massive can of worms, so not particularly surprised by that. The most expensive claims they've had, BMW M6 cylinder block, that was £20,425. Mercedes AMG E63S engine assembly, 18 grand. Range Rover Velar engine management and fault diagnosis, nearly 12 grand. And Porsche Panamera camshaft, just under £10,000. So you can see that a warranty is something you may well want to consider, because me personally, say I've bought a car, it might cost 10, 20, 30 grand. If the engine goes in it and it's going to cost £18,000, I'm getting a new car at that point. Like, I cannot afford to have that done, or I'm trying to get something from a scrapyard and trying to get it done as cheaply as possible. And then I probably want rid of the car anyway, and how much of its value is it lost at that stage? And sometimes just having that bit of paper and a little bit of peace of mind offers a bit of value itself. So at the start of this video, I referred to the world of used car warranty as a little bit of a murky one. And do I think that's changed? Well, we have companies offering insured products where you've got recourse if something goes wrong. You've got protection if the company goes bust. And they're competing directly with discretionary non-insured products where basically the company you buy it from decides whether they're going to pay out or not. And you don't have a massive amount of recourse, and you don't really have protection if they go bankrupt. And sometimes they've got a very familiar household name attached to them. It probably is still a little bit murky, to be fair. And also some of the pricing on this stuff. A policy can look cheap, but if it is cheap, is there a reason for that? Think about that. If you're given a warranty by a car dealership, look it over. Is it worthwhile? Is it a piece of paper or is it a warranty? There's a great difference between the two. So really dig into this stuff, folks. Don't blindly buy warranty, but don't just avoid it because you think it's a rip-off, because there are good products out there. No product's going to give you the top level of cover if you've paid for the lowest level of cover. Make sure you service the vehicle properly in accordance with the terms of the policy. Make sure you hold on to the evidence and make sure you understand what you've purchased. I hope you found this video useful. Please do go and check out ALA Insurance, and don't forget to use that code JIM10 if you'd like a 10% discount. I think it's on pretty much every product on the site. You can get 10% off. There is a link in the video description. There's also a QR code appearing up on the screen. And as I said, just using that code JIM10 is all you really need to do to let them know I sent you and to save yourself a few quid. I hope you've enjoyed that. As I said, I've been approached by so many warranty companies in the past, and sometimes quite lucrative opportunities have come my way and I've turned them down. I would never suggest you use a company that I don't believe in. I would never promote a product that I don't believe in. The choice, as always, folks, is yours. Thanks again for watching. Please give the video a thumbs up. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.